Okay, so I sprayed my drawing, my painting, and the first thing I want to check is I've been worried that these lines of the house weren't quite straight, and I can't seem to be able to get all four edges of my paper parallel to my camera, so I don't know what's up with that. But I thought I'd just check, and a ruler is a good tool to check for this. Or you can use a paintbrush if you want. If the edge of your paper is straight, you can just measure here, and it's 5 1/8. And then I'm going to come down here where I can see part of the house, and here it's like 5 1/4. So, well, actually almost 5 3/8 right there. But I think what I want to do is split the distance, because I want to keep some part of the house right in here on this side of the flowers. So I'm just going to actually move the other side of the house out more. You know, it doesn't really matter which way you do it. It just, so I'm just making my two little marks, and then I can use my ruler to just draw that straight line. And now I just want to check, like, okay, my window is 3/4. This one is 3/4. It's kind of getting wacko down there, so this is 3 1/4. Yeah, so this line is really crooked. Let's measure from here too. So 4 1/2, 4 1/2. Okay, so it'll be the inside of that line. And then here, this is about 2, about 2, about 2. So I think this is going to be okay once I add the color to it, and I'll straighten it up that way. Okay. Yeah, okay, so now I'm ready to start. Now there's some other things I noticed, which maybe you already noticed, is that I have got way more flowers, and much bigger flowers than are in my photograph. But, you know, I was trying to do it just exactly like it was, but I didn't. So now what I'm going to do is, I think I kind of like what I did better, so I'm going to stick with that. I might bring... when I do the house, I'm going to come in here and make this less of a straight line. All right, so on the house, well, actually, I think I'll go ahead and just start with the sky. And I do still have my box of pastels here that I was using, and but I'm not going to limit myself to those. I'm going to see always can I find a better color. So I don't know, I feel like I just can't get it a brilliant enough blue, but, oh great. Let's see if this world's smallest piece here. Okay. Well, I found a tiny piece. I'll save that. Okay, so now I'm gonna, I think I'll do the trees next, and I just want to keep getting them darker up in there if I can. Not with that. And I'm gonna use this dark to actually do a little drawing. another piece. Okay, I'm just gonna see if I can find another piece of really dark blue since I just, oh, well wait, maybe this is one right here. Yeah, that feels really dark. And when I say it feels, well, it wasn't as dark as I thought, but it felt really dark. It felt very scratchy. All right, and then I'll do a little more on the top of these trees where there's a little bit of light coming in. Just try to give it a little dimension, a little volume back there. All right, now the house. Okay, oh yeah, I was gonna do something down in here. Like that. I think I'll put the trim on the windows too. I'll add it here. So all of that kind of stuff would actually take more time than I'm going to devote to it right now. If you don't want your windows to look like they just are broken glass or broken out, then you want to put a little reflection in to, otherwise it'll just look like a haunted house. So maybe I did too much, but let's see. Okay, so now these flowers. All right, so I thought what I would do is there was like, how do you just draw a few flowers and then make the rest of it turn into flowers? So I think it's really important if you're doing flowers to study the anatomy of the flowers. Maybe do like some anatomical drawings almost of flowers. Just find a really good reproduction or a reproduction of like a scientific, there's lots of botanical drawings. It was a really big thing. Or just from a photograph and really study it so you understand the anatomy of the flower, because just like anything, you really I don't know, you don't really see it until you've really spent time looking. Seeing is not just, it's not just innate. It requires patience and care, especially if you're planning on doing flowers. And, I don't want to be in the position where I don't want to feel like I can't do anything. I want to be able to feel like I could do anything I wanted. And that if I choose not to do something, it's just because I don't want to, not because I can't. So I'm going to do a little bit of redrawing here, especially on these ones that are closer to me. And I would recommend, doing some studies where you're just doing one or two flowers, and you're really putting all your effort into that. And I would not expect the first time you do a specific kind of flower to be like the greatest thing you ever did either. It takes practice. Drawing takes practice, and it takes, practice. It just takes a lot of practice. And when you're like in this particular example, not, well, let's see, how do I put this? Like up here, there's not a really great, fully articulated flower that I can look at in these purple ones. So it helps me to have a knowledge base. I believe in the same way that it helps you to have a knowledge base of human anatomy or animal anatomy, whatever it is you're trying to draw, you got to understand how it works. Otherwise, your work will look, superficial. It won't have the underlying structure. So I was thinking if these white flowers were photoshopped in by me, and so maybe, I picked this, I did it all really fast but I picked these ones because they really showed up. So maybe what I could do up here is I could kind of use what I'm seeing and what I remember and what I know from these flowers to get these guys looking, to get some of these looking more realistic. Okay, and then maybe I just draw one more. And the thing that shows you, the thing that you really, the way you can see these guys is the light and shadow patterns on them. That's how you can see what's going on. So you want to try to pay really good attention to that, to the light and shadow on them. And that's how you'll be able to create the form. Okay, I'm going to get rid of some of that in there too. That's a little much. Okay, so let me just get rid of some of this stuff. All right, so now I come back to my flowers, and I'm going to start with these white ones, and I'm going to put in I'm gonna kind of try to make some of these things darker so that there's more contrast. And the goal here is to do all this without tightening up too much. And that is something that takes time also, is how far can you go, how far can you carry stuff before you lose the spontaneity of it. So I want to keep that spontaneity going, but I also would like to have a little more detail, I guess. I'm feeling a little worried and concerned. I'm still not using a white, actually. I'm using that sort of, oh God, I don't know what that is. Kind of a pink. I know there's that little yellow, I'm going to try to show that a little bit, that bearded part, which is sort of cool. So I think it's a combination of both. If you're going to paint gardens, you need to have painted flowers inside in vases so you can really study them, and then also paint them outside where, and then you've learned how to suggest them and what's sort of the important thing about what you're seeing. And then, just get ready to, I don't know, do bad paintings. That's the only way. That's how you get better, is you do paintings that, you try stuff and you keep trying and you keep trying, and not everything works. I think the only thing that's saving me down here, I'm so close to the edge, but thank goodness I have my tape. So, so it's not going to go under the frame. All right, and then those little yellow flowers, I'd like to make them look more like they're little flowers. And I guess I'm going to try just putting some little dots on them. This is a really soft pastel. So. I don't know, sound like there was an earthquake upstairs just now. Okay, so hopefully that makes those look like they are a little bit different kinds of flowers than these irises. I got a real problem right here. So I thought maybe this is called maybe your composition, like, I don't know, I just did some things to that I'm not really loving, so. It might already have a place where I would realize, oh, I'm gonna have to spray that again if I want that to really look like I want it to. Okay, so now let's come back to this other flower here. this brownish flower. Okay, so I'm just going to make it darker. Yep, that was the end of that. Honestly, I didn't realize how much paper I still had showing right there. I'm just trying to make this shape a little better. Piece of that purple. You know, let that be a lesson to you. Don't just pick up, it's a perfect color, but there was so little of it, I knew there was no hope. Like sometimes it might pay to be somewhat practical. And sometimes I think, what in the heck is wrong with me? Why? Why am I messing with this? And the answer always is, because I guess I hoped I could make it better. You know, that is not always what happens, but if I'm not satisfied, then I can't really stop in an area. It's just incredible how badly I've got this drawn right here. So if you only have one of something, it's like you have to do a much better job telling the story of what it is than if you have more than one. So by having more than one iris, I think it actually makes it easier to do this painting. If it was just one or two irises, then everything would be dependent on them. But in this case, I have all these different ones to help me tell the story. One time I was doing this painting, and in this painting I had like 4 or 5 seashells. And then as I worked on the painting, I don't know, the composition, it wasn't very good, and I kept taking out seashells. And what happened is, in the end, I only had like 1 or 2 of those seashells left. And I didn't realize it because, of course, I was painting on it the whole time. But then the person I gave it to asked me what that was. And then suddenly I realized that, I got rid of all those seashells, and now the seashell I had left was turned in a way that it didn't, tell the story of a seashell. So, that was a really long time ago, but certainly like 30 years ago, but I certainly never forgot it because it was a really important lesson. And I also just now realized that I'd done all these flowers and I'd really never used any other colors on them except that blue. So I want to be sure that, whoa, not with that though. This is good though. I'm going to keep this in my hand. I want to be sure that I don't let my color be too raw. So I want it to have enough variation. I try not to leave just one color anywhere. So something with just one color, I try to definitely have more than one color everywhere. Because probably no one color is really going to describe what's going on. And I also wonder, do I need just like a little bit of something that would hold those flowers up? One thing I really liked in someone else's painting, you know who you are, was that they made these little things, these little flowers, so much smaller back here. And I guess I just started with sort of this big blobs for what were going to eventually be tiny flowers. But I'm not sure I would have seen that I needed to go back and do something to them if I hadn't seen that person's painting. All right, now my purple flowers. Oh, great. See, I cannot listen to my own advice. I find the perfect color and it's so tiny that honestly, I'm just sort of scribbling around in here. Just going to add those purple, that dark, and then I'm going to come back now with the lights and try to. Do not like this pink I used to sort of represent light on the purple. No. Well, you can't have enough purples, it seems. No. So I would say I can pretty well tell that to finish this painting like I would like it, I would have to spray it again. Just having trouble getting things to go down. And honestly, that first spray, it doesn't seem like it does enough. Like it just seems like I need a second spray. So what I would do now is I would work to get it all covered so I could spray it again. And I think when I run out of time right now, that's what I'm going to do, is spray it again. And maybe I could do a part 3 that would just be without an audio, because it's just refining it now and trying to make it look more like I want it to. When you're doing flowers, just like what I'm doing now, is like I find a color that I think really works for what I want to do, and then I use it too much. So at some point, I think it's a really good plan to say, okay, like that color, I'm putting it aside because I think I just, I used it everywhere. And maybe that's okay, like for most of the painting, just to use it everywhere is kind of okay. And then maybe there would just be a few flowers that had sort of a more interesting color, or different colors, so that things would, so some flowers could be more in focus. And now I wonder, I didn't really think to use any blue in these guys, but maybe that's what I need. I just was kind of looking and I thought, oh, you know what, there is blue. Another really great thing that helps you with flowers is leaves, is knowing how the leaves work on specific kinds of flowers. It's like another chance to say, yeah, this is an iris, because look, nothing else has exactly those kinds of leaves. Or the buds. I used to be so impressed with people that could tell what plants were when they weren't blooming. But I know a lot of you are gardeners, so that really helps. Oh yeah, the house. Oh, the house. So much to do. What was I thinking? I guess, you know what I was thinking in some ways? I really like the contrast between things that are man-made and things that are natural. And so I guess I just usually find it a little more interesting to have something inorganic in my paintings, a combination of the two.